Welcome back to Misty and Ike. Today we're going to do the Beatles
versus
the Beatles.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Okay. I'm Misty.
And I'm Ike.
For the next 15 minutes,
We're going to debate pop culture.
My background's in music.
My background's in film.
I know the topics beforehand.
And I don't.
We check the internet for the facts.
And ruin it with opinions.
From pop rocks in your lunchbox
to Happy Meal toys and Swatch clocks. All right, it's Monday, February 1st.
It is.
Episode 136.
My gosh.
We're just cranking them out, folks.
We sure are.
If you were waiting on us to quit, if you were shorting us on the quitting stock market.
You know what? You know what we are?
Robin Hood.
We're AMC.
That's what's up. We're the AMC of the podcast world. And
we ain't quitting.
We're ranked in the UK.
And in the US.
That's what's up.
We are number 37 in all of the entertainment podcasts that are categorized as that in the UK. And 177.
How are you this afternoon?
Wrong button.
Alrighty then.
Sorry. I was going for a pause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What was the number in the UK?
It's 37
Yep.
in the UK and 177 of all of the entertainment podcasts in the United States of America.
We're coming for you, 176 and
below. You know
below.
who we're coming for?
Joe Rogan.
We're coming for Joe Rogan.
Yep.
We're coming
Mark
for
Maron.
Dax Shepard.
Yep.
We're coming for Mark Maron.
Yep.
We're coming for Sibling Revelry, which is Oliver and Kate Hudson. They're at number 38.
Bad Friends, the #1 comedy podcast.
But we're not ranked in comedy. We're ranked in entertainment. And those that I named are categorized in the entertainment sector.
We're going to be so popular
news.
in entertainment that we're going to spill over into comedy.
We are.
That's what's up.
We are.
We're not quitting until we're #1.
We're not quitting. We're not quitting. I can't quit you.
Quentin Tarantino.
All right. What are we going to talk about today?
We're doing Beatles versus Beatles. We got to tell them why.
Okay. So on this day in history, in 1964, the Beatles had their first #1 hit, which was I Want to Hold Your Hand.
I want to hold your
I want to hold your hand.
I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand.
You want to know a cool fact about this?
Yeah.
You want to know what song knocked it out of the #1 spot?
I want to hold your hand. You mean what was #1?
No. I Want to Hold Your Hand went
Yep.
#1 in 1964 on the state.
Yep.
7 weeks later, it got knocked out of #1.
By another Beatles song.
It was.
Yep.
It's She Loves You, yeah.
She loves you. Yeah.
That knocked it. So
We're going to get kicked off of YouTube for singing
we're
so
so
accurate.
good.
She loves you. Yeah.
She loves you, yeah.
I like singing them inaccurately. It makes me feel good.
Well, they had never had a #1, and they had 2 in a row.
And then they never stopped.
And they didn't, dude.
Can't stop, never stopping.
No. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Beatles as a band.
Yep.
Versus some interesting facts about the individual Beatles and their like solo stuff.
Cool. Let me set
So the
us
Beatles
laps.
versus the Beatles.
Oh, look, I'm that guy that has his light on his phone.
That guy's a douche. Why was that so funny?
Because it's so true. I saw a guy walking down the street the other day with his light on, and I was like,
oh, God.
What a
douche.
douche.
You're so stupid.
Such an idiot.
Turn your light off, douche.
You're making all the wrong life choices.
Aren't we all right now?
Dude,
I mean,
come on. All right.
we're not.
15 minutes on the meow. Starting. Meow. So we're starting with the band as a whole, huh?
Sure. You wanna know some things that maybe you don't know about them?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
All right. So, Elton John, famous for covering a Beatles song that was a huge hit, "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
Yep.
Did you know that John Lennon actually did backing vocals and guitar on it?
I did not know that.
It's cool, right?
That is cool. Like to cover somebody's song and then be like, hey, guy who wrote it originally.
He Lennon said that he actually liked Elton John's version of it better than his own. He's the one that wrote it.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought that was real cool.
Do you want to know the total volume of sales that the Beatles sold?
God, I do, because I can't even imagine. I bet it is a lot.
All told, the Beatles have sold 1.6 billion singles. Billion singles in the United States. 177 million albums. And that's just in the United States. Oh, worldwide album sales top 600 million.
That's incredible. I can't even, my little pea brain can't even like wrap itself around that.
Yeah, they're the number one selling artist on this top list of
Like
50
ever.
best-selling artists ever.
Wow.
That's nuts, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Number 2. Can you guess who number 2 was?
Michael Jackson?
I'm going the wrong way. This is gonna be interesting. Garth Brooks is number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Let's just move around. 156 million. Elvis is number 3 with 146.5 million.
Okay.
The Eagles 120 million. Led Zeppelin with 111.5 million. And then there's a huge jump from Led Zeppelin to Billy Joel at 84.5.
Sir William Joel, I think is what you mean.
And then Michael Jackson is below William Joel.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I don't feel right about that. I think that we need to
you know
make
what?
up the difference and buy that many.
I do, because Mr. Joel didn't have a park with monkeys and rides for kids. So
No, he just got drunk and drove his car into his neighbor's houses like 10 times.
that's fun. Did anybody get hurt?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not fun.
Yeah.
If he got away with it without anybody getting hurt, that'd be
Like,
awesome.
that's what he's known for. But he's also known for being like one of the greatest dudes ever to work for. So,
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
If the Beatles were still together and alive right now as a unit, do you think you would have worked for them?
I would like to say yes. I feel like the equivalent of what we have nowadays would be U2. That's the closest thing that we have in sales
Scale.
numbers,
Yeah.
scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I,
Or like the Foo
Was-
Fighters, maybe?
no, they're not up to scale with U2.
Really?
No. I mean, U2 won't do arenas. They can't. They literally can only do stadiums because of the demand.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the closest thing that we have to that would be Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Or the Stones.
The Stones can actually do like some smaller spots, and
Really?
and the demand isn't I mean, it is insane.
Mhm.
It's all relative,
Right.
you know. And I did have I was very, very close to working for U2. I had a call with their tour manager, and was on track to be his tour manager assistant, and then he passed away, sadly. So I like to think that if the Beatles were still a thing, that I would have had that same possibility. Yeah.
All right. Well, there we have it, folks. Misty worked for the Beatles. That's basically what
Essentially,
I
I worked for the Beatles.
picked up out of that.
Yeah. So I think this is really cool, and it's kind of on track with what you just asked. So Mal Evans was the Beatles road manager, so the equivalent of their tour manager. He was an unconventional contributor to some of their biggest hits. He is responsible for sounding the alarm clock on A Day in the Life, and he struck the cowbell on With a Little Help from My Friends.
That's pretty cool.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
The fifth Beatle.
He was, the fifth Beatle. I mean, there's so many fifth Beatles.
Right.
You know, there's Astrid the photographer, and obviously Yoko, Patty Boyd, like so many people in their realm that were like, oh, I'm the fifth Beatle. But Mal actually was the fifth Beatle, which is pretty cool.
That is super cool. I'm trying to find a list of the solo albums that sold the most once the Beatles were broken up in 1970.
Well, here is something interesting while you find that. So obviously when the Beatles broke up, McCartney and Lennon were the two that went solo pretty quick and had the bigger hits. I will tell you my absolute favorite Beatle solo hit is I Got My Mind Set on You by George Harrison.
Yeah.
However, another very, very popular English musician wrote a song about McCartney and Lennon and their rise to fame individually. And it was David Bowie. The song Fame was written about McCartney and Lennon.
Wow. Fame.
Dun, 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 dun,
I'm gonna live forever.
I knew that's where you were going to take that.
No, I heard it and then I changed my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, George was the first one to go number one on his own.
Right. Was that I Got My Mind Set on You?
It was the album All Things Must Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Within those 6 sides, that's weird. So
it was a record.
It was a triple album.
Right.
So there's 6 sides.
Yep, CD.
Yep, that makes math.
Yeah.
Within those 6 sides was My Sweet Lord, which
was God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great song.
Yeah. It was the first track by an ex-Beatle to hit number 1.
Wow. All right, George.
Yep. In the coming decades, Harrison would find himself on top of the charts with 2 more singles and as many albums. Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and John Lennon, the last, followed their old bandmate on the top of the Billboard Hot 100 in the coming years as well. However, by the late 1970s, McCartney, I read good, has taken his place as the hitmaker of the bunch, and he never looked back. Paul's 9 number 1 singles pace all Beatles as solo artists.
What do you think would have happened if John Lennon would have lived?
Do
you think that they would have been on par with each other? Or do you think that John would have gone to live in a commune with Yoko and just stopped?
I think that there would have been a break. Mm-hmm. I think they still would have broken up in 1970 because that happened while he was alive.
Yeah.
So that still would have happened. And I think around 83 to 85, no matter what their differences were, I think they would have patched it up and come back. And maybe even 85.
You think the Beatles would have come back?
I think they would have gotten back together for something like We Are the World, like we talked about last week. I think there would have been a global event that they all got together on, and they made one song. And then, of course, that song's never been written, but that song would have united them again, launched a world tour, and much like Queen. Queen was huge, and then they took a break, and then they all got back together.
Well, with a different singer because Freddie died.
Well, they got, I don't know enough about it, but what I thought happened was, who cares what I thought? That's not the truth. But I read something the other day about Bohemian Rhapsody. Mm-hmm. They showed an early cut of Wayne's World to Freddie on his deathbed, and he approved the song for the film, and it relaunched the career of Queen.
Yeah, I completely can see that.
Yeah, so he got
that
to
movie
see,
was a worldwide phenomenon.
He got to see that scene before he died.
People finally got to see how dumb Americans are all over.
But that headbanging scene in the car,
it's epic. It will go down in film history.
Yeah, but let's not go off on a Queen sidetrack here because we got
but you know what?
3 minutes left.
We are going to end up eventually doing a whole Queen episode.
Oh, we have to. We'll have to call your boy Adam for that.
We will have to get Adam involved in that somehow. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Did you know that that's not about a girl?
I thought it was about LSD.
It is. You knew. I didn't know
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
What does that mean?
Lucy, Sky, S, D, Diamonds.
Come on. I never put that together.
I mean, come on.
I didn't ever put that together.
Yeah.
I didn't. I want to tell you something. Okay, because there are all the weird conspiracy theories too about the Beatles are dead, Paul's dead, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, Paul's definitely dead.
He's not.
He's 100% dead.
I've met him. He's not dead. He's fully alive.
You met the imposter.
Sure. Anyways, so the cover to Abbey Road has the 4 Beatles walking across the crosswalk, right?
Yep.
You're aware of this. Mm-hmm. In the background, there's a white VW Bug. The license plate is 28IF. One of the things that all of the very paranoid Beatles fans that think that all the Beatles are dead alluded to is that John, had he lived to the album's release date, would have been 28 if.
No.
28IF.
Weird.
Right?
Oh, he's in the 27 Club.
Yeah.
It just always seems like he lived so much longer than that.
Yeah. Well, he lived a very a lot of life.
Yeah,
for that age.
They got famous when they were 17 or 18.
Very young.
So he had a decade of it. That's a lot.
You really quickly, I want to tell you something. If anybody ever has some time, look up James Taylor talking about his experience the day before with Mark David Chapman, the guy that killed John Lennon.
What? He was hanging out with him?
JT and Lennon lived in buildings that were side by side.
Wow.
And James had an experience outside of his building with Mark David Chapman, the guy that killed John Lennon.
So this whole story could have been about JT instead?
It could have been.
Wow. I do want to look that up. Yeah.
It's super interesting. And James gets kind of tripped out talking about it. Like, because it was very clear that the person he was talking to was very manic, and James had experienced things like that himself. And so tried all of his devices that he had to like calm himself down to calm him down, and it just didn't really work. And the next day he killed John Lennon.
Oh.
So it's crazy. There are a bunch of interviews about it. If you just Google James Taylor talks about John Lennon's killer, you will find video interviews of him discussing it, and it's really interesting.
Dang, you never know where we're going to go on this show.
Right?
Man, I think we got to say something about Ringo.
I think so too. I feel like Ringo gets left out because he's just the kind of boring one.
Well, he's got plenty of work his self. Top 10 Ringo Starr solo songs. 10-1, Devil Woman, early 1970.
Okay.
Snookeroo.
Oh, Snookeroo.
I Am the Greatest.
Wow, he was not lacking on confidence, was he?
The No No Song. Goodnight Vienna. Blind Man. I Lost My Place. Awesome. Thank you, Internet. This is amazing. Blind Man. Photograph, which I think was covered by Def Leppard.
Not the same song.
Back Off Boogaloo.
Oh, yeah.
And It Don't Come Easy is his number one single from 1970.
I'm going to tell you, I thought that Ringo was the cutest.
Did you really?
I did. Something about his weird little eyes.
I always thought Ringo was a horrible drummer.
You know, he is actually, I just was going to say, he's not considered the best drummer that the Beatles had at all.
Because they had one before him.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was probably a better hang.
This was something that John Lennon was famous for saying. Asked if Ringo was the best drummer in the world, Lennon clapped back, Ringo's not even the best drummer in the Beatles.
That's funny.
Yeah. And did you know about Pete Best, who was actually the original drummer and is considered the fifth Beatle?
No.
All right, so he got fired a month before the Beatles just blew up. The reason that he got fired is because as they started to do press, people thought he was the cutest, that he was cuter than Paul.
Stop it. No way.
Now, the real story is that the Beatles manager actually got rid of him because his Pete Best's mom started to like meddle and want to know too much information. She started being like a momager.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the
he really
rumors,
wasn't the best looking at all. You know what he looks like? Who's the actor that played Aragorn in Lord of the Rings?
I don't know. I was actually thinking he looks a little like Eddie Munster.
Oh, I could see that too.
Which one was Aragorn? I don't know. Which I'm not a Lord of the Rings or
I know.
Sorry.
Aragorn.
I need to watch those again at some point. I need to make myself.
It was Viggo Mortensen. Look up a picture of
Okay, I kind of see that.
Pete Best versus
The eyebrows
Viggo
and
Mortensen.
the nose, definitely. Yeah.
Early on.
I know what
Or-
Viggo looks like. I had a friend that used to bang Viggo a long time ago.
Interesting. Let's put that person's name on the screen right here.
Not a chance.
If you Google Pete Best and click on images and go to the fourth picture to the right at the top,
Okay.
he looks like Andy Samberg.
I love Andy Samberg so much. He's my favorite.
Yeah, not
Okay.
you meet him.
I have actually met Andy Samberg, and he was very, very funny and very nice.
Oh, hey, look.
So,
Bonus time. Nick Pyatt's calling into the show.
is he? Does he want to, come and produce?
Nick Pyatt, you're on the show, bud. What's going on?
Oh, he completely looks like Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, hold. I think
And
my
Andy
volume
Samberg.
is down.
Yeah, I see that.
Hey, Nicholas, producer Nick, you're on the show live.
Hi, Nick.
Hello. Am I the fifth caller?
Yes. You win the bottle of
Scotch.
Scotch
in my belly.
Am I really on the show right now?
You are.
You
We're
are.
wrapping up episode 136 right now. It's apropos timing that you called in right now.
Give us one quote from producer Nick on the Beatles.
I don't think he can hear you, Misty. He's not on the headphones.
All right.
One quote, what?
One quote from the Beatles. We're doing the Beatles versus the Beatles.
Oh, 1 and 1 and 1 is 3.
Oh, that's an amazing.
Nick,
one day we'll have to tell
you're
everybody
amazing.
why. Misty says you're amazing. We're going to wrap this episode up, and I'll call you back in 2 minutes.
All right.
All right. And now, Misty and Ike. And now with more Nick via the phone. Bye, Nick. Oh, here we go.
Hello, Nick.
Well, that's it. 136 in the can, folks. That's the Beatles versus the Beatles, the Beatles, the Beatles, the Beatles.
And 1 and 1 and 1 is 3 refers to the Beatles anthology.
Yep. Nicholas, I'm going to put his business on the street. He's going to get that tattooed on him. I'm not going to say how, but that's part of the tattoo that he's getting next.
Okay.
All right, folks. Since it's not Friday, get your gray sweater out.
Because we were matching today.
And it rained this week.
It did. It's cold.
Last week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.